Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to an FFA Showdown. So it's been quite some time since we've had a free-for-all showdown here on the channel, but we did have a game on the Cursed stream we had the other day. So for anyone that missed that stream, I attempted to do a free-for-all stream, and there's a lot of issues that go with that. And we'll go ahead and talk about that here in just a moment. So basically, the first game of the free-for-all stream was my worst case scenario. Basically, it was a complete lag fest. It was a slideshow. It was very, very laggy in the game. Really wasn't worth recasting simply because I think two players dropped and it ended up being like a weird 1v1, and yeah, it just was very, very janky. But nonetheless, we actually had a really good second game. But of course, me being me, I left the screen blocker up for about half the battle, and it was such a good battle. There were so many memes, so many good, plays as well. And this is the second battle here, so I felt like this one didn't deserve to be hidden in the depths of that forgotten stream. So here it is, guys. This is a free-for-all showdown. It is going to be Wicked D on the Dinos over here on the far side of the map, facing off against Grom Brindle, who shall be leading the proud forces of the Dawi. And for the Dwarves in FFA, it's always a bit of a tricky pickle, because basically if you deploy like this, everyone's going to fight without you, and you have to pretty much just hope that there's going to be enough left at the end of the day to get enough points to get back in the game, which is pretty hilarious. But yeah, he's going to be over here, and on the far side we have the Dwarves. I was about to say not the Dwarves, the Greenskins. I was my brain was thinking like Dwarves and Greenskins in one word. What would that even be? Dwarves? Yeah, something like that. Anyways, it's going to be the Greenskins led by Willow, 6669. And last but not least, we have King of the Dead coming in with a true meme army for sure. I mean, they're all memeing a little bit, but this one really takes the cake. So we have Celestra, and he's playing the Drowned, which is a unique sub-faction here for the Vampire Coast. And it actually does open up a couple of unique units. You can see here there are two damned Paladins. And these guys are actually pretty underrated. Yeah, they're pretty squishy, of course, being ghostly units, but they cause terror. Number one, they have anti-large, which is very nice. And we also have a pretty nice item here called the Glittering Scale. So all nearby troops get -5 melee attack. If you stack that with the Fog of the Damned from Celestra, you can actually get some nice kind of AoE debuffs, which is quite cool. So let's get the show on the road, guys. I think that's all the armies. We'll take a look at the armies as we do go through. So here for the coast, it's basically Sirens into the sunset. And honestly, this is a good matchup here for King, because Siren and ghostly unit spam is actually really hard for Greenskins to deal with, unless they're really explicitly preparing for that. And in this case, the Greenskins can't really do that. You can see here, I mean, yeah, they have a bunch of goblins. These are all units that are basically going to get instantly terror routed. So it's going to be very tough for Willow here. Granted, he has a lot of ranged, might be able to poke down and get some value. And also, of course, Wicked is coming from the far side of the map. So he's going to be pushing apart here with Skinks. And the Chameleons are poking into the Squig Hoppers, which is pretty good value for them, for sure. Squig Hoppers do not have shields, and they're very lightly armored, so pretty much any of these little poison darts from the lizards can do some serious work. Now back to this fight, we do have the Deck Gunners coming in, the Shade Wraith Gunners shooting downtown, going in to some of the Greenskin Archers here, to the Rusty Airs, who have also been attacked here by the Fellbats. And there is a Discourage effect, if I'm not mistaken, on the Shade Wraith Gunner, so it does actually lower leadership, so really good at kind of breaking off goblins and low-tier units. Now there is a big Spider as well. The Spider is going to be pretty good against Celestra if it can get in combat. It has anti-large and some other good profiles like that. Night Goblin Warboss getting in here, cleaning up the Fellbats, and the main fighting is pretty much underway. So Sirens have engaged here with the Goblins. Zombies are engaged as well. It's going to be a classic, just shank battle down here. We got little Goblins with their shanks. We got Zombies with shanks. But the Sirens will eventually probably get the terror routes off on the Goblin Deckhand Mobs, or the Goblin Deckhand Mobs. that would be so cool. Can we get a zombie pirate faction, please? That'd be really fun to watch. Nonetheless, Squig Hoppers are coming in, going after the Shade Wraith Gunners, but intercepted very quickly here. So nice play by King, able to pin off the Squig Hoppers. And now you can see a lot of the Skulkers and Goblin units are getting terror routed off, which is kind of the issue for them. In the meantime, Dinos are coming in on a bit of a collapse, so they're going to be coming in and just pushing on this open flank here. And the points are very heavily favored for King right now, but the main fighting hasn't really started for the other two factions. A little bit of loose skirmishing here. As you can see, the Bastillodon with the Solar Engine is shooting into the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and it looks like some Witchcraft here as well. I think it was Fog of the Damned or something. Oh, a Foot of Gork going down. Nice Foot of Gork by Willow. That was a beaut right there. And that single Foot of Gork puts him ahead on points. It pretty much 100 to 0s. Two groups of Sirens, some zombies. Well, this one is actually half health, but it killed Sirens instantly, took out the zombies, and did some pretty serious damage to the other group of Sirens. So beautiful Foot of Gork. Gork would certainly be proud, for sure. Now on the edge of the map, very risky situation for the Greenskins. We have the two damned Paladins fighting tooth and nail here against the Goblins. And the problem for these guys is they're probably going to get pushed off the map by Terror, and a Tide Call coming in as well, triggering the Terror route. And from here, Willow unfortunately will lose some somewhat healthy troops to the edge of the map, which is always the risk of fighting in those type of areas. Now King does retake the points, getting some really good value here in the center mass. The Spider has gotten in, and the Wa is indeed active. So you can see the Wa going to be making this Ragnarok Spider quite a fearsome foe. As far as speed, 24% speed. Melee attack is plus 20, so the Spider's rocking 74 now. But now we have the dinos coming in. So we have the laser dinos, we have the Heavens Caster, a lot of good magic damage. And had, King of the Dead been forced to fight Wicked earlier, there's tons of magic damage on this dino roster, it looks like. And it would have been very tough, but thankfully he was able to get the scrap with the Greenskins. And FFA, when you deploy and see who you're near, it's a big part of the tactics to actually look and see which army you think would be best and try and focus your fight that direction. Granted, the Goblins vanguarded on the coast here, so there wasn't much of a choice either way. Now, it looks like the coast is falling back. You can see as the lizards do encroach, and Wicked is getting some good value. He's picking off a lot of the scraps here. He's going after the deckhand mobs and the sirens. Shouldn't have any problems, and he's pretty healthy. He also wants to make sure he doesn't take too much damage, because eventually the dwarves will get here. And you can see the dwarven cannons are finishing off some of the greenskins over here with a little bit of ranger play, and also the dwarven cannons are shooting into the Bastillodon. So I have a feeling Wicked probably is going to be moving over here, moving away from the cannons, and basically just delaying the fight with the dwarves, because nobody wants that. They're full health, they're active for the most part, no fatigue, nothing really going on for them. So basically I think these three players here are going to be scrapping for whatever points they can get. And here you can see the Night Goblin Warboss has pushed back. The two damaged Paladins actually really good, like I said, against those type of targets. Lightly armored large targets, and riding on a squig does make you a large target. So now we have Celostra and the two Paladins. Honestly, they might be able to win this fight, but Wicked throwing in that X Factor, coming in with the Feral Manticore, which might actually break off the, not Celostra, but break off the Arachnox Spider, which would be huge because it's very, very close to the edge of the map, which would be an absolute disaster for this monstrous unit here. In the meantime, somehow, some way, Shade Wraith Gunners are still shooting, forcing off some of the Goblin Archers, but Wicked has come for his due toll. Going to be making these two armies pay their troll toll here as the Spider is pushed off, and now we have a third contender. Wicked is coming up here in third place, but he's rapidly climbing, and you can see the other two players here are not getting too much value at this point, just kind of a trickling in as it pertains to the points. But Celostra is going to be making sure to use her thick mass here to push off the Arachnox Spider, and that's definitely going to be a good play. Now, a little bit of a scary situation for the Old Blood. He does pop the Amulet of Itzel, which is a great play. Gives him the ward save, prevents the damage coming in from the Paladins, but he's also taking a lot of steady poking damage from these two Paladins, both of which do have anti-large, and of course, he doesn't do magic damage himself, so it's going to be very tough for him to kill these damned Paladins with their ethereal stat line. So Celostra does chase those off. It looks like the squigs are coming back in. Not the squigs, but the squig boss, the Night Goblin Warboss, opting to go into combat here, but Celostra does use the Song of Enthrallment, lowering the melee attack of all these units. Tormentor Sword is also popped by the Warboss, but he gets crab slapped pretty bad. And he's probably going to run off the edge of the map if he terror routes here. 14 leadership. The Orc Shaman not doing too much. Shade Wraith Gunners just singing into this volley right here. Man, so much work done. And of course, the Discourage effect is very, very powerful here. And I think that this poor pig is going to get taken out. So the Orc Shaman's pretty much done. King's still in a very commanding first place. Shade Wraith Gunners, of course, shooting downtown, tearing into the remnants of those greenskin forces. But now this is the tricky part for the Lizards. They've been able to capitalize pretty well, taking second place in a rather strong fashion. And I do not think the Greenskins have enough on the map to come back from this. So really, if Wicked can get enough value against the Dwarves here, kind of poke these guys down, he probably will eventually lose the battle because he took a lot of damage fighting against King's forces and also against the Greenskins. But if he can maintain that second place, of course, the parameters of this tournament that we were having was the top two needed to advance. So the players are playing with that in mind. They need to be into the top two to advance to the winner's pod. And I think I will do an FFA tournament because I think it's a fun kind of goofy format, but I'll probably do it offline. Basically just get the replays and cast it for you guys. And maybe we could do like a premiere function on YouTube so it feels like a live stream. I can hang out. I think that'd be really fun to watch it with you guys. So let me know your thoughts on that. I'd really appreciate any feedback. In the meantime, Skink Horde is pushing forward and kiting pretty well. Of course, Dwarves are well shielded, but if you can get some pokes into the Bugman's Rangers, that'd be quite good. The Flame Cannon, oh, that's going to be so painful. Nice shots there by Grom Brindle. Beautiful stuff. The Flame Cannon going right into the massive Skinks. Of course, the Flame Cannon itself does have a Discourage effect, which means it hurts the leadership of whatever it hits. I mean, being lit on fire certainly would. And the Skinks are certainly in a bit of a dangerous situation. Wicked trying to push in there, get whatever value he can, scrap out those points, because there are a lot of Dwarves here. Nice Wind Blast going down, does tear through those Bugman's Rangers. But again, guys, there's that X Factor on the edge of the map, which is King of the Dead, causing problems for Wicked here. And really, going after these high-value units, using his two Paladins to take out the Bastillodon is very punishing for sure, because that was a pretty powerful part of Wicked's army. Now, if we really look around, let's see if the Greenskins have anything left. It would appear Willow is still in the game, and had a very good early game, considering how hard his army was countered by who he rushed, basically. But I believe there's some squigs or something around the edge of the map somewhere. The Lizards are scrapping pretty well. Oh, and a Vanguard's Revenge is coming! So Celostra dropping the base. Here it comes. Watch the health of these Longbeards. Oh, this is going to be bad. So, King attacks Wicked a little bit, but he also, helps him a little bit. He goes after the Longbeards. King is the master of chaos here, not helping anyone, just, doing his thing. So the Skink Priest is freed by the Vanguard's Revenge, which is pretty hilarious, but I would imagine that the Paladin might go after him. Flame Cannon, of course, still shooting into the very tattered Skinks, and Grom Brindle has been able to hold his formation for the most part, but somehow Wicked was able to get around with some Chameleons, and he's now pushing off the Flame Cannon, so maybe he's going to be able to scrap this one. Currently, if we look at the points, about 1,100, almost 12,000 here for King. Wicked is closing in on 10. Grombrindle, though, is closing the gap. And remember, guys, in King of the Hill, in the game, it's kind of an unknown one because not a lot of people do King of the Hill simply because of lag issues and things like that and connective issues and all that. The player who is the last man standing. So even if, like, for example, Grombrindle kills everything but doesn't have that many points, you get a buff. You basically get free points. So you get, I think, like 2,500 or 3,000 or something like that. We'll have to check at the end of the battle, but it's a good mechanic for sure. Otherwise, like, slow factions just would not have a chance. So Longbeards here are chasing off the Skink Priest, but he might be able to come back. I would imagine there's no more Manticore summons here. So he does have another Skink Priest somewhere with Wind Blast that I think is still active. 2 damned Paladins basically just trolling about, farming where they can. And what's really good here is King has a pretty durable core still with Celestra plus the 2 Paladins. He didn't bring the Heck, so he's basically going for Lord of the Deep. So he can't heal them and really abuse their durability, but he's still scrapping points, which is helping to keep him in first place. Wind Blast going down as well, going into the Bugman's Rangers, which are a very choice target, and it looks like the 2 damned Paladins are basically going to be running from the erect might here of Ungrim Ironfist, who's certainly looking for blood, and he would probably be able to finish them off. He's unbreakable as well, which is very good. But the Paladins are going to go after the Flame Cannon, which was able to come back online. Now, Grombrindle still does in the back have a regular cannon, but oh, look at this, the Greenskins are still here. Willow coming in and getting the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, the ultimate Greenskin trolling. If they know they're not going to win the game, he has to come back with one last death thrust and try and stick it to the Dwarves. Granted, I think the Dwarven artillery crew should hold. They still have pretty good leadership. And obviously, there's a ton of angry Dwarves nearby. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, Longbeards, all that kind of good stuff. And King able to goon out the Flame Cannon and now running from the Slayers, which is pretty funny. Also on the far side, there are some Sirens still left. And the Sirens are not bad against Dwarves, even though they do magic damage. 75% of that, with the AP values being considered, it still isn't bad. So they're going to be a good roadblock against these Slayers and other troops here. And oh, the Laser Dino from downtown from Wicked comes back, dropping magic damage into the Sirens and into the Slayers. Very, very impactful stuff. Granted, it looks like these Rangers, no, they only have 1 volley. They won't be able to finish that off, probably. And Celestra dropping the Song of Enthrallment once again. A very good ability, actually, but doesn't get used often because Celestra is just not a common pick. But nonetheless, it does push back the Longbeards here, not the Slayers. The Slayers, of course, are unbreakable, but they will eventually get worn down by these troops. So if we look around the map, the Dinos have a bunch of Skinks coming back in. I believe the Source Old Blood got taken out at some point in the battle. I'll try and find him if I can, but I think he's kind of out of the picture. We do have a Skink Priest of Beast coming back in. Skinks. For the Dwarves, what do we have? We have Flame Cannons, a couple of loose missile units all over the map, and the damn Paladins are basically just trolling here, just cycle charging where they can, but it looks like the Dwarves have been able to catch him. Ungrim getting some big blows, and this Paladin with his glorious antlers is certainly taking a bit of a beating. Might even be crumbling at this point, and yes, he is. So crumbling damage, super valuable here, and also, unfortunately for everyone else, Grombrindle still actually does have the cannon, and, you know, he might be able to claw his way back at least into second place. I think the lead might be insurmountable for the forces of the Vampire Coast. I mean, these Paladins here in the late game are just getting so much value. I mean, even though he kind of got sandwiched between 2 armies, he has been able to just scrap with these very annoying, fast, durable units. The Dwarves now are shooting into Celestra. She's probably going to go down here, about 1,000 HP. Although ammunition's super sparse here, so maybe not. She's probably going to have to go down the old-fashioned way, which is just raw combat. Slayers and Skinks, and it's just a 3-way Royal Rumble here. We have Wicked coming in with his little Skink Horde, doing some good work, and even though they don't do a ton of damage against these ethereal units, the rear charge still crumbles them, because again, they don't have the best leadership. Also, a couple Skinks are poking Celestra, getting the last laugh. No, these are actually Razordons. Oh, Amixon Barbs. That's brutal. Oh, Barbara, causing so many problems. And you can see here the Celestra, 85 HP, 74, 63, 52 on the Dwarven Cannon gets the death blow, which of course is very valuable. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here. So at this point, the Lizards don't have too much left. Basically, it's King of the Dead just cackling at the back, using his damned Paladin to ride around and try and farm points wherever he can. We have the Skink Priest here making his last stand. So currently, as the points stand, King at 13.7, 11.3 here for Wicked D, and Grombrindle is at about 10k. So if Grombrindle can be the last man standing, it looks like he is going to be able to get second place here, although I don't see him surpassing King because there's simply not enough left on the battlefield for him to really, reap the benefit. You can see the damn Paladin just going to be doing jukes, trying to juke the ammunition, which is hilarious. But even if he's running, and obviously we're not using like tournament rules for this, it's just basically the Wild West. The damn Paladin is trying to get some value here on the Skinks and get points, but he is going to be crumbling down as the cannons are basically just finishing him off. And the Dwarven Slayers will charge in, and down goes the Paladin of the Drowned. And that is going to be ultimate victory for the Drowned, nonetheless, getting enough points early on and just getting tons of kills over the course of the game. So, man, very well played. That kind of rekindled my interest in casting FFAs occasionally because it was really fun. Like, when you get good players in there using, like, funky builds, it really becomes interesting. So, as far as King's build goes, the Sirens were very durable and had a great counter against the army he ended up fighting, which was the Greenskins. And the 2 Paladins in Celestra, like, even though his army did kind of get crumped down, he was able to still net massive value throughout the game using those damn Paladins. Now, for Grombrindal's army, it's good. It's solid. It's durable. But the problem, of course, with armies like this is if you don't advance out quickly or not, if your opponents ignore you, which every time I see a dwarf in FFA, I'm like, nope, I'm going to go fight someone else because it takes so long to kill them that you'll end up fighting the dwarves and then a third player will come and just like, push you in the back. And it's just like, it's tough. So I always avoid dwarves. And dwarves can remedy this by not using artillery and just advancing right away. But nonetheless, the artillery still did well. And Grombrindal pulled a hard second place. I mean, he almost won it. So obviously there are some teeth to these kind of builds. If you can still get enough value in the late game, go for it. And I mean, he only lost by 600 points. Grombrindal played a great game. And of course, Wicked's build was great as well. The laser dinos were a really good answer against a lot of the magic. Also gives him good conservative play while also having a lot of mobility, which is what I really liked about his army. It was highly mobile, but it could sit and play defensively and just pick apart kills where it could. I thought it was a very nice, well thought out build. And Wicked played a great game. He almost got second place, but did get edged out by the last man standing. And of course, Willow, the true hero of the people, charging in there with his goblins against a ghostly army. That is a bold strategy, Cotton. That Foot of Gork almost did it. Almost did some work for him, but alas, it was just such a tough situation for him, and he made the best of it. So well played. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this FFA. Let me know if you guys would like to see more FFAs, or even on that case, would like to see FFA offline offline tournaments. That's something we could arrange, and I think it'd be very fun. All right, guys, well played to all these fine lads. Hopefully you enjoyed this game, this FFA game, which was cursed but is now alive. Just watch. I probably accidentally recorded this with a screen blocker somehow. But nonetheless, guys, we'll see you on the other side, and thank you for joining. Cheers.